Man, I wish these people would get out of my way.
They're not even doing anything wrong. They're driving the speed limit.
No,
they're driving. Not. They're driving reasonably.
You know what? Everybody should just listen to me, and there should be a special Clark lane where I get to drive as however fast I want.
The Clark lane.
Yes.
It should have just like a big C in it, like the Superman logo with a C in it.
CWT. So that everybody knows it's Clark W. Thomas.
Clark W. Thomas lane.
Yes.
Where do you want this paved at?
Preferably, I want everybody else to drive in the right lane, and me just get the left lane.
Okay, fair enough. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just tuning in, normally everything that we say in the podcast is a joke. Tonight I'm telling you that most of what we say in the podcast is a joke. Because today we have an exception, an important exception. What I'm here to seriously tell you is that Mr. Thomas is a road rager.
No, I'm not.
That he's dangerous on the road.
No, I'm not. I'm not dangerous.
And
if I was dangerous, why would you let me drive all the time?
Because I'm here for the drama, and I think it's funny.
You're a bad person.
Yeah. Yes, he's a road rager.
No, I'm not.
He has the potential for extreme violence, but only behind a vehicle.
I have never once gotten mad in my life. Hello, everybody.
We are so back.
We are back. Currently in the front seat of my car, driving back from Columbia.
Yeah.
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 Making my way.
What are we talking about?
Didn't you come across the scientific theory you wanted to talk about and see how it applied to like the real life?
Yeah, actually I did. All right, so what we're going to be talking about today is something called Red Queen hypothesis. All right? And Red Queen hypothesis is this idea that there's sort of in this evolutionary chain, pyramid, the evolutionary pyramid, that which is at the top of it is always defending itself from everything underneath. And to elaborate a little bit further on this, when you look at, in nature, two different species are competing, and the number one way that they're competing is usually through a predator-prey dynamic.
Yeah.
In all instances where we see this, okay, the predator-prey dynamic decidedly always ends in favor of the predator. The prey never evolves its way out of the competition.
Uh-huh.
The predator evolves to the point of dominance. Okay?
Yeah.
And if it stops evolving at that point, it will lose its position of dominance. But if it continues to evolve, then it will hold its position of dominance so long as the evolution is appropriate to keep it there. Okay? And one of the things that I had this revelation about when I was finishing up my time in college, the first time, was that the things that I'd learned about biology, I now found that I could try to apply to the real world. And when I hear about Red Queen hypothesis, I first think about, coevolution.
Yeah.
And then I think about countries, because I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
All right?
I am too.
Yeah.
I understand.
I know you are.
Natural.
You know what else you are? Really dumb. Really dumb. And you drive bad. And you have road rage.
I do have road rage.
You're a road rager. You're a toxic man.
I do enjoy getting mad when driving. I would agree.
That's fair. I hope somebody cuts us off. That way we end up having to, edit out all of the bad things that you undoubtedly will say and that we are not allowed to put on this podcast.
Honestly, it'd be pretty funny.
It would be funny.
I may not even cut it out, just bleep it out.
Yeah. That would be funny.
I would be.
Yeah. Anyhow, there was a dead armadillo on the side of the road right there.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. All right. So the United States has been changing a lot since its conception about
1776.
1776. And we've been doing some adapting. Was that Jesse Ventura that just hopped out of that car back there?
What?
Sorry. Anyway, pretty sure it was like an elderly woman with really long white hair, like ponytail, but like receding hairline up front.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Just kind of looked like Jesse Ventura. Small.
Anyway, let's get on with our lives.
Yeah, I do.
Stay on script.
Yeah.
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 nations. America.
America.
1776.
Yeah. So we've been changing a lot, and I think a lot of those changes that we're seeing are built around war fighting.
Yeah.
I think you'll agree that most innovation these days comes directly out of how we fight wars, and that's not necessarily like a bad thing, but it just kind of is what it is.
Yeah.
There are other countries that are changing too,
Uh-huh.
and if their rate of change outpaces us, then they'll overtake us as the leaders of the world. And I think we're at a place now where we are like we are the world power.
Yeah.
We are at the top of the evolutionary pyramid.
Uh-huh.
Okay. We are the dominant force. But I also think that we are expending a lot of resources to stay there, which is correct according to the Red Queen hypothesis. Okay? And the most beautiful way that I can illustrate this is to compare how much money we spend on military spending compared to anyone else on Earth.
Yeah. The Chinese spend roughly $70 billion
Yeah.
every year on the military. Do you know what the yearly budget was last year for the Army, for the
No.
military? About $900 billion.
Okay, so over 10 times as
Yeah.
much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, they have more ships than us.
Ships.
They have
that
a lot of little boats.
That can be like rowboats.
Yeah.
That's what they're counting.
Yeah.
Tonnage-wise, it's still us.
Counting every little patrol boat as though
Yeah.
it's a full-scale Navy
We
vessel.
For the record, the United States, there are 17 nuclear aircraft carriers on the planet in operation today. The United States operates 10 of them, and it's illegal,
Based.
according to Congress, for the United States to operate any less than 9.
Based.
Should get
You
over
know
for
what's
this
not
guy.
based about that?
What?
We're getting dangerously close to the minimum.
Well, we've got 2 more coming in the next couple of years.
I know that the Abe Lincoln is about to finish up. Isn't it?
And so the Gerald Ford is the Abraham Lincoln and the Enterprise.
Oh, we're making another Enterprise?
Yeah. It's gonna be the only
It's going to
aircraft
be another
carrier.
Ford-class carrier?
Yeah, it's gonna be the only aircraft carrier that's not named after a president.
I love that. It's because it's named after,
The Enterprise.
Yeah,
Because the Enterprise is a long and storied name.
that's true. That's
Single-handedly beat Japan.
true. I don't know that you could say that the Enterprise single-handedly beat Japan.
They fought Japan for a year by themselves.
Oh, hold on. I'm getting a phone call. Hello, this is Wes. Hola, ¿qué tal? Anytime I get scammers, I like to switch languages or just play stupid or just scream obscenities at them. I work through a rotation.
Oh,
Today was Spanish.
that's fun.
Uh,
I'm gonna leave this in, by the way.
sure. I hate you.
Why?
I don't know. You have bad hair. You have a big nose. You have bad eyes. You have bad eyesight.
No, not anymore.
Yeah?
Got
You got
that-
enough money to fix it?
Got that surgically fixed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. What are the poor supposed to do?
Well, I would hope that eventually we're able to make that sort of surgery free for everybody.
You're
Maybe
not
not
going to cut
free.
my eyeballs open.
Well, it'd be up to each individual's preferences.
That's how it always starts. Anywho, all right. Yeah, I don't know that you could say that the Enterprise single-handedly beat Japan. I mean, there were a couple more boats over there at the time.
No, okay, fair. Did most of the work.
Oh, okay, all right.
Did more work than the battleships.
I will concede that, and I do love American battleships.
Yeah,
because
battleships are cool.
Battleships are cool. And if you don't think battleships are cool, you're wrong.
And you're dumb.
And yeah, you're dumb. You have a very ignorant opinion.
Yeah.
There are 2 kinds of people in this world: people who recognize how awesome American battleships are, and degenerates. Yeah.
Yeah. Red Queen hypothesis.
Yes. So what do you think? I kind of laid out how this applies to governments and stuff.
I think it explains a lot.
Yeah.
In the last 85 years, the United States has conducted a military operation somewhere in the world every year, probably every month of the year, since 1945. The United States has fought several major wars the Korean War, the Vietnam War, the invasion of Grenada, the invasion of Panama, the first Gulf War, the second Gulf War, and the war with Afghanistan.
Oh, don't forget, there for a brief time during the Cold War, whenever we went after that Russian agent Perseus at the airports over there, it had something to do with a bunch of nerve gas and stuff. Yeah.
Are you talking about like Black Ops 1?
No. It was a documentary I saw on the 360 the other night.
On the 360?
Yeah, I decided to dust it off.
Was it Call of Duty Black Ops 1? Or
It
Black
was
Ops?
it was a lovely story. It was a lot like The Notebook, actually.
Mason?
It was a lot like The Notebook. This guy's story was being retold to him and me in real time, and he
was it
discovered,
an interactive documentary?
Oh yeah, it was an interactive. It was an interactive.
Anyway, Red Queen hypothesis. Let's
Yes.
get back on track.
Anyway, yes.
You're an idiot. Anyway, no, I think it explains a lot. You know, the United States has involved itself in all of these wars. We expend a lot of resources to keep our military ahead of everybody else. And you know my theories on where the military is actually at, technologically.
pretty similar to mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for those of you who don't know, we believe that the military is actually 20 years ahead of where we're at today.
Yeah.
So in 20 years, we're going to have what the military has today as civilian technology.
Yeah.
For example, in the 1970s, they had the internet. The military did, because the military invented it. It was only in the 1990s that civilians got access to the internet.
Would you let me talk so I can say something
Dude,
intelligent?
you yapped for 5 minutes about the Red Queen hypothesis.
Then you rudely interrupted me to talk about Call of Duty.
Fine, talk. Fine.
In the 1950s, late 50s, early 60s, we originally blueprinted a plane called SR-71 Blackbird, which was originally going to be RS-71, but Lyndon Johnson can't read things off of the paper. Anywho, we acknowledged that plane for what it was, even though it was a highly classified project from Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works, because too many reports were coming in that people were seeing UFOs out by Area 51.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were like, hey guys, it's not aliens, it's actually just us. And that's probably still going on today.
Now we just don't care.
Now we just don't acknowledge it. We just, yeah guys, it's definitely aliens. It's totally aliens. It couldn't be us.
Yeah.
Definitely aliens. Anywho.
Anyway.
Go ahead. Sorry,
I just think I think it just explains a lot. I think it's right.
Yeah.
I think your opinion of, and that's why we act the way we do with certain countries today, like the Chinese with the Ukrainians.
Yeah.
Because according to this, it's a net benefit for us to have Ukraine fight the Russians.
Yeah. We're that tall guy who's pushing all the shorter people down in the game of basketball to keep them from scoring points.
Yeah.
And you know, that's great for us because we're the tall guy.
Yeah.
Based.
I would argue though that it doesn't have to be a lose-lose situation. American dominance in the world has led to aside from some brush conflicts like the Korean War, like Vietnam,
Sure.
has led to 85 years of near uninterrupted peace.
Because those are nothing compared to the conflicts like, I don't know,
World War
II. World War
I
II.
can realistically go back 20 years from 1945 and tell you a war that was going on every 20 years.
Yeah.
That was a great war. You got World War II in 39 to 45. 20 years before that was 1919 with World War I. 20 years before that was the Spanish-American War. 20 years before that was the Crimean War in 1860.
And those were all insanely big deals.
Yes. 20 years before that was the revolutions of 1840.
Yeah.
And that involved a lot of conflict.
Yeah.
20 years before that was the Napoleonic Wars. 20 years before the Napoleonic Wars
Yeah, back then people were just literally lining up to get shot.
was the Revolution,
Yeah.
1776.
Yeah.
20 years before that was the French and Indian War.
Can you imagine fighting wars like that? Like
Every
back in the
20
day?
years?
Like getting in a line.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, we're gonna get in some rows, and then we're gonna shoot at those guys in rows, and
Yeah.
they're gonna shoot at us, and may the best man win.
Can you imagine doing that? And but every 20 years? Like, if you happen to survive that, you've got a very real chance of sending. You go back home, get married, have children, and you have a very real chance of sending your entire all of your boys to go and fight the next war because your government can't act right.
That's kind of what happened with World War I and World War
Yeah.
II, and then World War II into Vietnam.
Well, yeah, but
I mean,
Vietnam was not.
Vietnam
On
was
the
the
level.
baby boomers' war.
But Vietnam was on the level of World War II.
No.
We didn't have 8 million Americans.
No, you know what the thing was about Vietnam is that we had journalists there
Yeah.
for the first time.
Yeah.
And having journalists there to highlight some of the atrocities of what was going on, now all of a sudden war became something that was like,
Oh my gosh, I can see it.
wow. Yeah.
This is bad.
Yeah. And
It's-
then fast
but
forward,
like,
now I can see it on Instagram Reels all
Yeah.
the time.
and it was shocking to those people.
Yeah.
And I wonder, it'd be interesting. And I should actually look into this sometime.
You should. You should
What,
do something relevant.
Well, what percentage of the anti-war protesters, like the actual ones, not the young people, but like older people,
Yeah,
how many of them were veterans of World War II?
it's true.
Because I would imagine a lot of older veterans would have been like, no, we went through the same stuff.
Yeah.
And the war. This isn't anything different.
You're going to go over there and become a man.
Yeah.
Anywho,
I mean, I would imagine that'd be interesting to see if there's a percentage of them that's anti-Vietnam.
sure. I want to take a jab at you personally
Okay.
for your system of beliefs. Did
Okay.
you notice how I took a science argument, was able to translate it to another field of study? Because science is relevant everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. When have we ever had a history discussion that led into a science thing? Never. Because you don't believe
Sociology,
in actual study.
science,
Yeah, but it's not history.
but it's science, and all history is the history of how societies interact with each other, and sociology is the study of how societies work
That's a stretch.
and how group. No, it's not.
Yeah, you're right. It's really not.
No, that's the definition of society.
Yeah, that was
Sociology.
actually a pretty good definition.
It's almost like you can take biology because that works in any system, be it with a micro on a predator prey singular cell organism
Yeah.
up to like a human.
Yeah.
And societies and humanity. Which is, but really, it's more of a sociological concept as you're describing it.
Well, really,
We're just
truly.
using history.
You can take all the bio concepts and blow them up to the scale of groups of people.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you can start to blur the line between ecology and sociology.
Yeah.
And, yeah. A lot of ologies, my guy.
Uh-huh.
A lot of studies of things
Yep.
that we kind of made up.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going 82 to pass this guy
Why?
because he wasn't going fast enough.
Oh, okay. All right. How fast were you driving?
82.
82. Do you mean 72?
No. I see the out you're trying to give me.
No, just gonna double down.
Yep.
Well, let God and everyone know that I tried. Anywho, it's a really big American flag over there,
It is.
right next to two old Standard Oil well pumps. America.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Red Queen theory.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called?
Red Queen, how about?
You said something a couple days ago that I've been thinking about, and it kind of and this conversation's got me thinking about it.
Do you mean I said something intelligent?
Yes, actually.
Gross.
You talked about drones and their effect on warfare.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And how you think they're going to be this crazily innovative thing. And at the time, I didn't know what to think about that.
Well, my mindset here is that you're seeing a country like Ukraine, and Russia does this on the flip side to Ukrainians as well.
Yeah.
So it's not just a Ukraine technique. They do not have the monopoly on this. But what they don't have is a large industrial complex that tunes out things like tanks and planes and stuff.
No, they get all that stuff from us.
Yeah, and they're getting the hand-me-downs from the other more developed nations.
Yeah, the richer nations. If you will.
Yeah, the nations that have spent the past 80 years at the top of the
food chain.
food chain. Yeah. But when that stuff runs out, what better weapon to turn to than the $15 Walmart drone?
Uh-huh.
And I've been seeing videos of this, and people are using these drones. Wow, that guy looks like he eats people. That guy.
Yes, he
that
does.
Guy, that guy on that billboard. I do not want to run into him in an alley, or I'm not going to make it out. I don't know.
I've never seen that guy before. But...
That guy's got some teeth. I'm telling you. Anywho, sorry, folks. What were we saying?
Drones, $15 Walmart drones.
Oh yeah. These people in Ukraine are able to take a guy who's like high school age and get his like grubby little Xbox controller fingers and put him on a remote, and they're able to fly these
drones,
POV drones,
yeah,
into like T-72 combat tanks that Russia's fielding, which are multi-million-dollar units, and because the T-72s have an auto-loading mechanism built into the turret. When that blows, it detonates the battery and it blows the entire top cap of the tank off.
That's the reason why the M1 Abrams doesn't have auto loading.
That is precisely the reason, is because it makes them a lot more prone to a battery detonation, which anybody who's studied the USS Arizona in Pearl Harbor knows is a bad thing.
It is a bad thing.
The battery is not the place you want to get hit in a ship, and coincidentally, not a place you want to get hit at in a tank either. Anywho, go ahead, Mr. Thomas.
Well, no, I think that there's a lot of merit to that idea.
Yeah.
That this is revolutionary. I think it is. For poor countries.
Sure. Okay.
For countries that can't afford a well-developed air force.
Okay.
Like Russia and Ukraine can't.
Because Russia, for all intents and purposes, Russia is relevant today because they have the resources that the Soviet Union had. They have the stockpiled and mothballed military of the Soviet Union.
Yes, but even
Russia's modern economy is more similar to a large U.S. state, or a second world country.
But I legitimately think that this is revolutionary for insurgent warfare.
Sure,
but not for big clashes of civilizations.
If you rewind the clock 20 years, this would have been devastating against U.S. troops in Afghanistan.
I don't think it would have been.
You don't think so?
No, because 10 years ago, about the time the drone craze started, about 2016, 2014. We were actively fighting ISIS. In the Middle East, and this isn't devastating. They had some drones.
Sure.
They had access to drones and stuff, and they didn't, because we weren't letting them with the Air Force, because we kept them so beaten down, and just in terms of us hitting them constantly because we had air superiority. They couldn't.
We tried to do something like that with Vietnam, though, and we just firebombed and firebombed and firebombed.
Make no mistake, it worked in Vietnam.
Well,
our strategy in Vietnam was working objectively.
Journalists.
The American people just didn't have the stomach for the type of war that had to be fought.
Yeah.
That
was the thing. They were seeing it for the first time.
Probably is a good thing for the American people.
Yeah, it's a good thing that speaks good of us that we're not willing to go over there and eradicate another group of people because of their systemic beliefs. Yeah. But I would say that's a good thing.
But so would I. I am not dissing.
But calling it what it is.
We were winning the Vietnam War. The fact of the matter is, we were there in Vietnam for 20 years and we only lost 50,000 soldiers.
And compared to the estimated body count on their end, the numbers don't lie.
No. And Russia has been involved in, a fairly similarly sized war.
Sure.
And they've lost, according to the Russian state media, 150,000 soldiers.
Which is significant.
In 2 years.
Which is significant for a country of their population.
And that's not taking into account that the Russian state media is lying. That's the conservative estimate. The CIA, which I think probably puts out a bit more believable numbers in this regard.
More liberal.
It's about 500,000.
And I mean liberal as a term meaning a heavy estimate.
Yes.
Not a statement of political allegiance. A liberal estimate is a heavy estimate. You could liberally apply peanut butter to your sandwich, and it just means you got a lot of peanut butter on your sandwich.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same thing with conservative. It just means it's a lot more restricted.
Right. That's where those terms come from in terms of politics.
Yeah.
Is it comes from conservative or limited government versus liberal or heavy application of government. That's where, if you're hearing those terms and don't know where that comes from, that's what that means.
Yeah.
Okay. Look at us being actually like educational instead of just yelling at each other the whole episode.
It's almost like this is more fun.
Yeah. No, not really.
It's more fun for me.
Yeah, it's more fun for me too. My
It
blood
is?
pressure probably can't handle much more of the moon landing and stuff like that.
The moon landing's a bad debate for
Yeah,
us.
man, it takes time off of my life every time we talk about
Because
it.
you and I just talk past each other and then we get mad.
Yeah,
And that doesn't do either of us any good.
yeah, it does.
It doesn't do me any good.
Yeah, it does.
It'll
End your suffering one day.
Why, when I stroke out and just die?
I mean, we put animals down all the time in shelters. I don't know. Sorry.
Funny story. Never mind, I'm not going to say that on the podcast. Anyway.
Educational, like I said.
Yeah.
A highly educational
Yeah.
episode here. Oh my goodness. That's a tanker truck full of gas up there.
This is right here?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, right in front of us, you mean?
Yeah, that big truck that's right there.
I
that
should
you
drive
can see
into
with
it.
those big eyeballs that you had surgically augmented so that you could use them again.
I'm going to drive into it.
It would if I go out like that, it does my heart good that you go with me.
But you see, I bailed at the last second.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that'll definitely save you from that. Yeah.
I bet it would. The
it
bleeding might get me.
Yeah. Yeah, you especially.
Yeah.
You're just not getting out of that.
No.
No.
Oh, did I tell you yesterday I was mowing, and so you know the red mower we use, right? Have you ever seen it? Okay, apparently you haven't with the look you're giving me. Anyway, that's got a cab with like safety glass.
Yeah.
It shattered on me yesterday. Yeah.
How?
I happened to be, I was making one of my loops, and my dad was mowing on another part.
Have you shot a rock at you?
Yes.
That's
And
awesome.
it just shot a rock out and hit the glass. And I'm on blood thinner.
I bet you left some stuff in your seat.
Nope. I was just kind of like, and I looked over to see if I had gotten cut anywhere.
You know, in biblical times, Goliath died that way.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
That glass may have saved my life.
That's funny.
But yeah,
That's funny.
I was just kind of like, oh, it was everywhere too. I had to like drive it into the shop and then vacuum all the glass up.
I love that for you. I'm happy that happened to you.
That's part of the reason I looked so defeated yesterday when you got to my house.
Oh yeah? Because you just had a long day?
Yeah.
I got you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, some takeaways.
We're not done discussing this.
I'm done discussing this.
No, we're not.
You're such a degenerate. And besides, the episode's like too long. They're getting bored. I can feel it. The listener doesn't want to hear you rant. They want to hear me rant, and I'm done ranting. So what are they supposed to get? Huh?
Let's talk about the debate.
Ooh. What about, I'm assuming you're referring to the recent vice presidential
The
debate.
one that happened yesterday.
Yeah. At the risk of discussing politics openly in a podcast that students listen to, what would you like to discuss about the debate?
I think we can just give our general overview of it, nonpartisan,
Okay.
or as close to it as we can get.
Okay.
Um,
Stay
J.D.
as factual as possible.
J.D. Vance got up there and ate him alive.